When does a person's life truly change? When they earn more money, when they land a better job, when more people know their name, or when they wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and actually keep the promise they made to themselves. The man we're talking about today didn't make it into history simply because he was extremely wealthy, and not just because he controlled oil. The real reason is this: John D. Rockefeller was a man who learned to control himself, and that is why, even today, his name is still being spoken. Because people can forget fortunes, they can forget companies, but they never forget character, discipline, and mindset. If you look at Rockefeller's story only as history's first billionaire, you'll miss something very important. His real power wasn't in his money. His real power was in the way he thought. When he saw an opportunity, he knew exactly how to move. When he saw a problem, he didn't panic. When he saw an obstacle, he didn't retreat. And most importantly, where others made decisions with emotion, he moved with calm and clarity. Now pay attention. In this video, I won't just tell you about Rockefeller's life. I'm going to teach you how to think like Rockefeller. I'll show you how to be as disciplined as he was, how to think long-term like he did, how to see the system like he did, how to be patient like he was, and how to build real power like he did. But let me say this upfront, the goal here is not to blindly copy anyone. The goal is to understand how powerful people think, because some people simply become successful, others turn success into a mindset. Rockefeller was in the second group. If you're ready, let's begin. When does a person's life truly change? When they earn more money, when they land a better job, when more people know their name, or when they wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and actually keep the promise they made to themselves. The man we're talking about today didn't make it into history simply because he was extremely wealthy, and not just because he controlled oil. The real reason is this: John D. Rockefeller was a man who learned to control himself, and that is why, even today, his name is still being spoken. Because people can forget fortunes, they can forget companies, but they never forget character, discipline, and mindset. If you look at Rockefeller's story only as history's first billionaire, you'll miss something very important. His real power wasn't in his money. His real power was in the way he thought. When he saw an opportunity, he knew exactly how to move. When he saw a problem, he didn't panic. When he saw an obstacle, he didn't retreat. And most importantly, where others made decisions with emotion, he moved with calm and clarity. Now pay attention. In this video, I won't just tell you about Rockefeller's life. I'm going to teach you how to think like Rockefeller. I'll show you how to be as disciplined as he was, how to think long-term like he did, how to see the system like he did, how to be patient like he was, and how to build real power like he did. But let me say this upfront, the goal here is not to blindly copy anyone. The goal is to understand how powerful people think, because some people simply become successful, others turn success into a mindset. Rockefeller was in the second group. If you're ready, let's begin. When he entered the workforce as a young man in accounting, most people saw him as ordinary, a young guy sitting at a desk, dealing with numbers, carrying documents. But that desk job wasn't a boring routine for him, it was a real education. Because Rockefeller learned how money moves. What is cash flow? What is cost? What is debt? What is profit? What is loss? He learned all of it. From the outside, this experience looked completely ordinary, but in reality, it was the very first lesson in the massive system he would one day build. The same is true today. Many people are out chasing the big opportunity, but most of the time, big opportunities are hiding inside small, boring jobs. Nobody tells you upfront, this job will make you a billionaire. But that job teaches you something: discipline, patience, attention, accountability, responsibility, and real wealth almost always starts with exactly those qualities. So here is my first big piece of advice: don't underestimate the small things in your life. If you don't take a small job seriously, you'll never be able to take a big one seriously. Every job you do today is a rehearsal for who you'll be tomorrow. How you clean your desk, how you organize your room, how you track your budget, how you keep your word, all of it is shaping who you'll become. Rockefeller's difference started right here. He didn't look down on small things. He took everything seriously, and then he saw the big game. By the 1860s, America was going through a massive transformation. Industry was expanding, railroads were spreading, cities were swelling, and a new source of energy was capturing everyone's attention: oil. Today when you hear oil, you think of giant corporations, politics, wars, price swings. But back then, oil meant a new world. It meant lighting, it meant industry, it meant transportation, it meant power. Many entrepreneurs rushed into this space, but most of them were only skimming the surface, because everyone could see the well. Rockefeller saw what was beyond the well. And this is one of the most critical differences in business. Everyone sees the product. Few people see the system. Everyone sees the result. Few people see how the result is produced. Everyone looks at what's visible. Few people control what's invisible. And that was Rockefeller's greatest genius. He didn't get fixated on drilling for oil. He saw the mechanism behind the oil. Who is transporting it? Who is refining it? Who is distributing it? Who is setting the price? Who is running the system? That's where the real money was. Because sometimes the world isn't won by those with the most valuable product. It's won by the best organized people. Now here comes the third big lesson. If you're impatient, you will lose. Today's world wants everything fast. Fast income, fast success, fast reputation, fast results. But most of the world's most powerful structures were built slowly. Rockefeller didn't become a billionaire overnight. He worked for years. He grew for years. He accumulated for years. He built for years. From the outside, it looked slow. But in reality, he was moving at an incredibly dangerous pace because he was on the right path. Today, one of the biggest mistakes people make is this: impatience. They start something. A week later, no results. They quit. They set a goal. A month later, it gets hard. They give up. They make a plan. A little criticism comes. They fall apart. And what happens then? Potential disappears before it ever produces a result. But thinking the Rockefeller way means making peace with the process. Not one day, not 10 days, not 1 month. Staying right for years. Staying in the right work. Staying in the right habits. Staying in the right mindset. So here is a very clear piece of advice for you. Build small, but sustainable systems in your life. Don't try to revolutionize everything at once. Get a little better every day. Get a little more organized every day. Think a little more carefully every day. Think a little more deeply every day. Because great transformations are the result of small repetitions. That's where Rockefeller's power lived. He didn't underestimate small wins, and he made time work in his favor. Now let's move to another critical subject: emotions and decision making. Rockefeller was extraordinarily calm in the business world. He never acted in panic. He never made decisions based on his feelings. He never changed course based on his daily mood. He calculated. He moved with logic. This is incredibly important, because today, many people run their lives based on how they feel. If I'm in a good mood, I'll work. If I feel like it, I'll start. If I'm not at peace, I'll put it off. If not now, then later. This approach doesn't grow you. It only keeps you busy while standing still. Discipline is above motivation. Motivation gets you started. Discipline carries you forward. Rockefeller wasn't just a man who started things. He was a man who followed through. Once he started something, he carried it all the way. So here is the third piece of advice. Don't ignore your emotions, but don't surrender to them either. Because if you run your life on emotions, one day you'll be flying high, and the next you'll crash. But if you build your system above your emotions, you'll move slowly, but solidly. Now let me give you a section that I think will hit close to home. Let's say you're young today. You don't have much money. You don't have a powerful network. People don't take you seriously yet. Maybe no one around you believes in you. What do? Rockefeller gives you the answer. Start small, but start seriously. Even if you have no money, have a plan. Even if you have no connections, have character. Even if you have no luck, have discipline. If people don't notice you right away, that's fine. Build the system, because a system built correctly will make you visible one day. So no one should ever stop dreaming just because they're small right now. You can be small, but you don't have to be disorganized. You can feel inadequate, but you don't have to be without a plan. You can be living in uncertainty, but you don't have to be without discipline. Rockefeller's legacy is crystal clear here. Don't use your circumstances as an excuse. Use your circumstances as data. Now let's go one level higher. Rockefeller's story isn't just a personal success story. It's also a vital example for understanding how the modern world actually works. Because in his era, oil wasn't just money. It was politics. It was transportation. It was industry. It was power. And whoever controlled it set the rules of the game. Rockefeller saw this. That's why he wasn't just someone doing business. He was someone who could read the system. So here is the 8th piece of advice. Don't just read the world from the surface. Try to understand the logic behind events. What are people saying? But more importantly, why are they saying it? What are companies doing? But more importantly, why are they doing it? Why are markets moving? But more importantly, what pressures are driving them? Seeing the surface isn't enough. You need to go deeper, and that was Rockefeller's advantage. He read the system. How do we apply this in our own lives? Very simply, if you want to advance in any field, don't just try to do the work. Learn the economics of that work. Learn the people in that field. Learn the dynamics of that space. Learn the risks. Learn the timing. Learn the rules of the game. Most people just do the work. Few people understand the rules of the work. The one who understands the rules plays the game longer. Now let's go a little deeper. How was Rockefeller able to make such effective decisions? The answer is mental discipline. His mind wasn't scattered. He was focused. He didn't spend his energy randomly. He didn't waste time on pointless conversations. He didn't invest in gossip. He didn't chase social exhaustion. He focused on his work. And I want to say this especially to younger people today. Most of the things draining your life are not big problems. The real problem is the small distractions that look big. Constant notifications, constant comparison, constantly watching other people's lives, constant short-term dopamine hits, constant distractions. These things slowly destroy a person's ability to produce. Rockefeller's power was his ability to protect his attention. So here is the sixth piece of advice. Guard your attention. If you can't guard your attention, you can't guard your life, because focus is the most valuable currency of our era. What a person looks at during the day determines what they believe, and what they believe determines what they become. Now let's look at his harder side. Rockefeller was not a perfect hero. He was criticized. It was said he used excessive power. He was accused of applying harsh pressure on markets. Some found him brilliant, some found him ruthless. And the truth is, neither group was entirely wrong, because great power always brings ethical questions with it. Running a system very effectively doesn't automatically make that system fair. That is exactly why reading Rockefeller only as a success story is incomplete. You need to read him as a warning too, because being great is not just about earning more. Being great is about how you use your power. So here is the seventh piece of advice. If you want to gain power, also build the character to carry it, because without character, power will eventually consume you. Now let me give you one of the most practical sections of this entire video. How do you think like Rockefeller? First, take small things seriously. Keep a notebook. Know your spending. Track your time. Follow your investments. Stop living in chaos. Second, build a system. Setting a goal isn't enough. Build the mechanism that gets you to the goal. Third, be patient. Don't change direction just because fast results didn't come. Fourth, manage your emotions. Don't let every feeling become a reason for a decision. Fifth, don't use others as your measuring stick. Work to strengthen yourself. Sixth, guard your attention. Don't shatter your time on worthless things. Seventh, produce contribution. Be someone who builds, not just someone who consumes. Eighth, think long term. Don't just think about what you're winning today, think about who you'll become in 10 years. Ninth, work in silence. Don't announce everything. Some work should stay quiet until it delivers results. 10th, grow your character, because money can make you attractive, but character makes you lasting. Now let's talk about something very important, competition. To truly understand Rockefeller's story, you have to understand his approach to competition, because what he did wasn't just grow. It was being better organized than his rivals, producing at a lower cost, transporting more efficiently, making faster decisions, building a better system. Many people watch their competitors. Rockefeller watched his competitors, but only to improve himself. That's a crucial difference. Some people constantly look at others. Who did what? Who's ahead of me? Who's doing better? Who earned more? This is an endless cycle of comparison. It drains you. It steals your energy. It scatters your focus. Rockefeller's approach was different. How do I become more efficient? How do I build a stronger system? How do I make better decisions? How do I grow with fewer mistakes? That is the mindset of long-term success. So here is the fourth piece of advice. Compare yourself not to others, but to who you were yesterday. Because real competition is internal, not external. If you're not better than who you were yesterday, you haven't won today. The next major theme is influence and legacy. Later in life, Rockefeller didn't want to just be someone who accumulated money, because he realized something. Money alone doesn't live long. Impact lives longer. That's why he made enormous donations. He contributed to education. He contributed to health. He contributed to science. He gave vast support to universities, research centers, and institutions. And in doing so, he wasn't just putting on a show. He was leaving a permanent mark on the system. This is a powerful lesson. In life, what matters isn't just what you earn, it's what you build. Not just what you take, but what you give. Not just how much you grow, but who you help grow, because real legacy is touching people's lives. So here is the fifth piece of advice. Don't just think about winning, think about contributing, because the person who contributes becomes long-lasting. People forget wealth, but they never forget someone who made a difference. What keeps a person's name alive is rarely the money they saved, it's the value they left behind.